Listen closely, because what I'm about to tell you changed an entire village forever. There was a forest where the bravest warriors feared to walk after sunset, where silence had teeth, where the trees themselves kept secrets that could swallow a man whole. And one night, someone broke the oldest rule.
Welcome home to Tales from the Baobab, where wisdom lives in stories.
In the village of Akeza, nestled between two rivers like a child between his mother's arms, there stood a forest. Not just any forest, the Zenza Forest. By day, it provided herbs for healing, wood for fires, and fruits that tasted like honey kissed by sunlight. The children played at its edges. The women gathered mushrooms from its gentle shade. But when the sun began its descent, painting the sky in shades of amber and blood, every soul in Akeza would retreat behind their doors, because the elders spoke a truth that had been passed down for 7 generations. A forest that feeds you by day may hunger for you by night. No one entered after dark, not the warriors, not the hunters, not even the village drunk who claimed he feared neither man nor spirit. The forest had a boundary, and that boundary was sundown. Now, in this village lived a young man named Kato. Kato, handsome as a carved ebony statue, strong as the baobab, and stubborn as a goat refusing to be slaughtered. He was the kind of man who looked at rules the way a lion looks at a gazelle, as something to be conquered. Kato was in love, deeply, foolishly, beautifully in love with Amara, a weaver's daughter whose smile could make the sun jealous and whose laughter sounded like water over smooth stones. They would meet every evening at the forest's edge, talking until the sky turned purple, sharing dreams and stolen glances. But Amara's father had promised her to Chief Okoro's son, a man with wealth, but a heart like dried leather. The wedding was set for the next full moon. "We could run away," Kato whispered one evening, his fingers intertwined with Amara's. "To where, Kato?" Amara's eyes glistened with tears. "Your pride won't feed us, Kato. In my father, he needs the bride price to save our family from death." Kato's jaw tightened. "Then I'll get you something more valuable than any bride price. I'll prove I'm worthy." Old Mama Zuri, who was sitting nearby shelling groundnuts, cackled. "Hey, young man, the only thing you'll prove is that you are a fool. Pride is a seed that grows into regret." But Kato had already made up his mind. Because Kato had heard the whispers, the legends, deep in the Zenza Forest, beyond where any man dared to walk in darkness, there grew the moon orchid, a flower that bloomed only at midnight, whose petals were said to be worth more than 100 cattle, a flower that could cure any illness, grant any wish, and secure any future. The next evening, as the sun bled into the horizon, Kato kissed Amara's forehead. "Wait for me. 3 days, I'll return with our future." The forest at night was not the forest of day. The friendly paths twisted into confusion. The helpful trees became towering sentinels with branches like accusing fingers. And the silence, the silence was alive. It pressed against Kato's ears like water pressure, thick and suffocating. But Kato pushed forward, his touch casting nervous shadows that danced like mocking spirits. He froze. "Who's there?" His voice sounded small, swallowed immediately by the darkness. Laughter, soft, like a child's giggle, but wrong somehow, coming from everywhere and nowhere. Then he saw her, a little girl, no more than 7, standing in a clearing ahead. Her wrapper was old-fashioned, the kind his grandmother might have worn. She was smiling. "Uncle, are you lost?" Her voice was sweet as sugarcane. Kato's hand tightened on his machete. "What are you doing here, child? Where are your parents?" "I live here, uncle. We all live here." She giggled again. "Would you like to see my home? My mother is cooking roasted yam and palm oil stew. You must be hungry." Kato's stomach growled treacherously. He hadn't eaten since noon. But something wasn't right. The girl cast no shadow despite his touch. He remembered Mama Zuri's words. "In the forest of secrets, every kindness is a question, and every question has a price." "Thank you, little one, but I must continue my journey." The girl's smile didn't waver, but her eyes did something strange. They reflected his touchlight like an animal's eyes. "Are you sure, uncle? The forest is long and lonely and full of those who refused kindness." She stepped aside, and behind her, Kato saw them. Faces in the trees, not carved, not painted. Actual faces pressed against the bark from inside, mouths open in silent screams, eyes wide with eternal terror. Dozens of them, maybe hundreds. These were the people who never returned. Kato ran. He ran like the ancestors were chasing him, like death itself was nipping at his heels, crashing through undergrowth, his touch swinging wildly, his heart a war drum in his chest. He didn't stop until he burst it for another clearing, falling to his knees, gasping. "Whew. You run well." Kato's head snapped up. Before him sat a figure around a small fire. An old man, a young one. It was impossible to tell. His face seemed to shift in the firelight, sometimes ancient, sometimes ageless, sometimes not quite human at all. "Who are you?" Kato demanded. "I am the keeper, and you, brave fool, are seeking the moon orchid." "How did you—" "I know why everyone enters. Always the same. Love, greed, pride, desperation. The reasons are many, but the mistake is singular." He stirred the fire with a stick. "Tell me, Kato of Akeza, what makes you different from all the others whose faces now decorate my trees?" Kato swallowed hard. I love her, truly. Not for pride, not for myself. I need to save her from a loveless marriage." The keeper laughed, and it sounded like dry leaves skittering across stone. So you are here for love. How noble." His face shifted, became serious. "And if she doesn't want to be saved? If your salvation is another man's prison?" Young warriors always think their love is different, special, worth breaking the world for. "Then test me," Kato said, surprising himself. "I'll face whatever trial you set." The keeper's eyes gleamed. "Careful with your words, boy. The forest has excellent hearing." "Very well," the keeper said. "I will give you 3 tasks. Complete them before the rooster crows in your village, and you may take the moon orchid. Fail, and you join my collection." He gestured, and 3 paths appeared in the clearing where none had been before. First path, you will face your greatest fear made flesh. Second path, you will hear a truth you've spent your life avoiding. Third path, you will make a choice that will haunt you forever. And the moon orchid? Beyond all 3, if you survive. The keeper leaned back. Or you could turn around now, walk away, live, forget this foolishness, marry someone else. Let Amara make her own choices. Kato stood. I've come too far. Yes, the keeper said, sadly. You all say that. Kato chose the left path and found himself in a tunnel of thorns. At the end stood his father, dead these 5 years. But in this vision, he was dying again, reaching for Kato, calling his name. You weren't there, my son, when I needed you most. You were off chasing glory in other villages. I died alone. Kato fell to his knees, tears streaming. Forgive me, father. I was young, I was foolish. Guilt is a beast that devours from inside, the keeper's voice echoed. But is your guilt about him or about yourself? Kato looked up. The vision wavered. His father's face became peaceful, smiling. I forgave you before I drew my last breath, my son. It is you who won't forgive yourself. You carry me like a stone when I wanted to be your wings. The thorns parted. Kato walked through, lighter somehow, though tears still traced his cheeks. The middle path led to a pool of still water. Look, the keeper commanded. Kato looked and saw himself and Amara, but in this vision, they were years older, married, living in a small hut. Amara was tired, worn down by poverty, missing her family who disowned her. Kato was bitter, drinking palm wine, blaming her for the opportunities he'd lost. This is one future, the keeper said. Love sustained by sacrifice often becomes love poisoned by resentment. You would save her from one prison to build another. No, Kato shouted. We would make it work. Perhaps, or perhaps love is not always enough. Perhaps sometimes the kindest thing is to let go. The water rippled, showing another vision. Amara, married to the chief's son, who turned out to be kinder than expected. She was not deliriously happy, but she was safe, secure, her family thriving. She would sometimes think of Kato and smile at the memory of young love. Kato felt something crack inside his chest. The final path led to a garden where the moon orchid bloomed, silver and perfect under the moonlight. But between Kato and the flower stood Amara herself, or something wearing her face. Kato, she cried, help me, I'm trapped here. Take the flower, make your wish, and free me. But beside her appeared another figure, a child, a small boy with Kato's eyes. Papa, the child whispered, if you take the flower, you get everything you want, but I'll never be born. Mama will never marry the man she was meant to meet after you. I'll never exist. The future is a web, Kato. Pull one thread and 1,000 others unravel. Choose. Kato looked at the flower, at the Amara thing, at the child, and he laughed. It started as a chuckle, then grew into a full, belly-deep laugh that echoed through the forest. I understand now, he said, wiping his eyes. This whole journey, it wasn't about proving my love, it was about proving I'm wise enough to deserve it. He turned away from the orchid. I release you, Amara, not because I don't love you, but because I do. Your life is yours to choose, not mine to claim. The forest dissolved like morning mist. Kato found himself at the forest's edge, the sun just beginning to rise. He had been gone the entire night, yet in the village only an hour had passed. Time was strange in the Zenza Forest. In his hand was not the moon orchid, but a single seed. The keeper appeared one last time, young now, smiling genuinely. You passed, Kato, not by taking, but by releasing. The seed in your hand will grow into a tree that will make you prosperous, not wealthy, but comfortable. Enough. And Amara, go to her, tell her the truth, all of it, and then let her choose. Kato did exactly that. He told Amara everything about the forest, the trial, the visions, and his decision to let her go. Amara cried. Then she laughed. Then she held his face in her hands. "You beautiful fool. My father set you up. There is no death. He wanted to test you to see if you loved me or loved the idea of winning me." Kato's jaw dropped. "What? And the chief's son is engaged to someone else?" It was all ha ha ha. She giggled through tears. "A story. So, we can, yes, you stubborn good, yes." But here's the thing that made this story legendary. Kato planted the seed at the village center. It grew overnight into a magnificent tree that bore fruit unlike any other. Fruits that could heal minor ailments. Fruits that tasted different to everyone who ate them. Always their favorite flavor. But Kato never took credit. He never boasted about his journey. When young people would ask him about the Zenza Forest, he would say, "A man who chases what he wants learns how to grab. A man who releases what he loves learns how to receive. The forest doesn't take people. Pride does, fear does, the inability to let go does." And Mama Zuri, she would add, while shelling her groundnuts, "The forest is still forbidden after dark." But Kato didn't conquer it. He understood it. There's a difference. One makes you a corpse, the other makes you wise. And so, the forbidden forest remains. Those who enter seeking to take never return. But those who enter seeking to understand, they return changed. Kato and Amara lived long. Their love tested not by grand gestures, but by daily choices. The tree still stands in Akeza, they say, bearing its mysterious fruit. And sometimes, on very quiet nights, people claim they can hear laughter in the Zenza Forest. Not menacing, not cruel, just knowing. As the ancestors remind us, the bravest thing a warrior can do is not to conquer the forest, but to walk out of it. If this story touched something in you, if you felt that pull of the forest, that weight of choice, that bittersweet wisdom of letting go, then you're exactly who these tales are meant for. Here are tales from the Baobab. We're building something rare, a community that still believes in the power of story, not just to entertain, but to transform. Where wisdom lives in stories isn't just our tagline, it's our promise. Drop a comment telling me, what would you have chosen in Kato's place? The flower or the freedom? And if you're ready for more journeys like this, stories that make you feel, think, and see the world differently, then join our circle. Subscribe so you never miss when the next tale begins. Because some stories aren't just told, they are lived. And the next one starts soon.